Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech talking today about the state of Legacy. Yes, the Legacy format. This is one of my absolute favorite formats. It is the competitive format that I play the most. It has the most cards available. It's a wonderful format overall, and it's getting shaken up a lot recently. I was down at the GP here in SeaTac. It was a great event. It sold out. Some individuals canceled, and then it sold out again. Packed room, wall-to-wall people. It looked like 1,000 people playing Legacy. It was a wonderful event. I'm going to talk a little bit about the GP. Then I'm going to talk about the recent announcement from Star City Games and what opportunities that has for the community. And then I'm going to let you know what's going on a little bit with the finances regarding Legacy in particular. I've got a full finance video coming out a little bit later this month, so I'm just going to dive into that a little bit. I'm going to go in pretty heavily later in the month with Eternal EDH Legacy Finance in my upcoming finance video. So let's start with the GP itself. I had a wonderful time at the GP. The people were incredibly nice. My first round, I sat down, I played against a homebrew player playing a Wizards deck that had Snapcaster Mages, Vendilion Clicks, Dark Confidants, and somebody like kitty corner from me had the coolest playmat. They had taken the Stasis artwork, turned it into a playmat. That gentleman sent me a copy of the artwork. This artwork is so different. It's the type of artwork that would never make it into a modern Magic set. And this is a piece of artwork that I'm going to use at some point for a Magic-based tattoo. This is one of the two pieces of artwork that I really, really like in Magic. The other being the new Izzet versus Golgari Brainstorm. Very happy to have this created higher resolution version of the artwork. And I'm going to find an artist and try to do something entirely different, but based off of this for a tattoo. This kind of like running into a player, just being able to talk to them casually, and then have this very positive experience was what the GP was all about. I ran into fans of the channel all throughout the weekend. I also ran into a lot of fans of Tolarian Community College's channel. I would say about half of the people that recognized me were individuals from Tolarian who saw us stream together and the deck tech that I had recently done over the Grixis deck. Fans were just wonderful, had very positive discussions with people. There were a lot of homebrew decks there that were doing rather well. Individuals have asked what my current deck list looks like, and this is what I actually played at the GP. I didn't have any buys. I'm not a local grinder, although I do show up to the Monday night Legacy tournaments over at Card Kingdom, and I'm looking at showing up to maybe the Mox Boarding House ones on Thursday. I really, really like this Grixis deck. I did a full deck tech over on Tolarian Community College, and the minor changes in this from that deck tech were really to add a little more to the high end, add a Grumog Angler, do a little bit more damage with it. Overall, I was super happy with the deck. In 8 rounds, I had 3 very convincing, strong victories, although in very close games. It's a control deck, so you don't end up with a blowout usually. I was able to beat Miracles, and I was able to beat Storm. The Storm game, I almost blew game 2. I made a novice mistake. I was playing with Dak Faden, and I had 2 cards in hand. I upped Dak, and then I set aside the 2 cards I wanted to keep, put the 2 cards that I wanted to discard aside, and then discarded the wrong ones. Almost cost me the game there. Lots of my games were super close like that. I did have, or one of the 4 rounds that I lost was because I made a play mistake that clearly cost me the game, and it was that type of really tight game that one minor mistake can cost you a game. In the games that I lost, in the matches that I lost, they were very close matches, usually coming down to a stifle or a wasteland or a single turn of damage. The play was very strong. There was one round that I just got blown out. It was against Tin Fins. My turn 1, I drop a Deathrite. My opponent's turn 2, he draws 18 cards, is unable to kill me because he can't find a mana source, but then he has 7 cards in hand. I go to remove cards from his hand. He brainstorms, throws some stuff on top of his deck, and what's left in his deck even gives him enough to hard cast a Griselbrand. From that point on, there was no coming back in that game. But what was really powerful was game 2. He had a transformative sideboard, put in a bunch of mentors, put in a bunch of creatures, and was able to play a fair game along with the combo. I had the cards to shut down the combo, but I did not have the board control for the fair game. It was one of the more interesting decks that I played against all weekend. I had a very tight match against Elves where it came down to a single card. I believe that this deck can crush Elves. It's got a lot of removal, a lot of control. It's not a matchup that I really worry about. I had 2 rounds versus Delver, and Delver is a very tight game. Tarmogoyf is probably the toughest thing for this deck to deal with. I think I may even look at Perishes in the sideboard to help deal with the Tarmogoyf matchup. Overall, though, I'm super happy with this deck. I do know 2 other people who played something similar. Both of them had either equal or positive records, which is very good for a homebrew deck. I played this again at Card Kingdom on Monday night. I went 2-1-1 with my draw being against Merfolk. I had lethal on the board in that draw game. I had very, very close game also against Bug Delver. The Bug Delver matchup is decent. It is a tough deck. It's one of the strongest Delver decks out there. But having creatures like Tasigur and Gurmag Angler help you a lot in this particular deck. Moving away from the deck here, the top 8 was very diverse. We saw lands, we saw Lurin, we saw Reanimator, we saw Miracles, and 2 different Delvers. Overall, this is a very diverse meta, and there were a lot of interesting decks played by pros in the top 32 or even on day 2 that as people start to look through those deck lists, they're going to be able to brew. As far as having a healthy meta and lots of options, Legacy is doing really, really well right now. It's an exciting competitive format. What really bothers me, though, is the recent announcement by Star City Games. Star City Games has done 2 things. Number 1, they're moving away from the West Coast, which they've been slowly but surely doing this. Their last Seattle event actually had moved to Portland, and they've never had the giant presence on the West Coast that they've had throughout the rest of the country. But with their most recent schedule, they're moving things even farther inland, looking at Vegas. And the bigger issue is that the Classics, the area where most of their Legacy events are paying out in prize tickets only. Prize tickets are honestly the worst. People forget to turn these things in. I would much, much rather have cash or packs. SCG talked about these prize tickets as being super positive and well received by the community. I don't know anybody who actually likes them. I know people who like things on the prize wall. If there was a way to do that much more simply to where you had the option for cash or you had the option for packs instantaneously, having that I've got to save these things up and then go try to turn them in later aspect to it is just not fun for me. Also, individuals who are pros are jumping ship on Legacy. This is an article from yesterday on Star City Games. It talks about one of the strongest Legacy players out there moving from Legacy to Modern. And this is happening across the board. Now, I don't want to sound like a doomsayer here, because Legacy, although it is dead, I would say long live Legacy. Legacy is actually not dead at all. People really, really love this format. The community around it is growing. More and more people are actually getting into Legacy. Now, the reserve list caps how large it can get. Modern can get much, much, much bigger than Legacy and will continue to grow at a faster pace. But the people who love Legacy are going to start looking to other individuals to provide those tournaments. Card Kingdom Mox Boarding House is going to start doing a 1K Legacy event locally here in the Northwest. They're going to alternate it, though, between Legacy and Modern and see how it goes. The fact that Star City Games is moving away from it gives others an opportunity in the marketplace to step up. The players of Legacy are so rabid about the format that they will keep it alive as long as the cards exist until they literally disintegrate into nothingness. A lot of people have asked me about the finances of Legacy cards. There is going to be a small dip in Legacy cards after this recent announcement from Star City Games. I already saw that in the trading at the GP specifically. Force of Wills were very easy to pick up. People were trading them much more easily than they were a few months ago. Even cards like Imperial Recruiter, which just top 8'd the Grand Prix, a lot of people are trying to trade them. There was a small bump in them, but they're still moving at that same level that they were a few weeks ago, where you would expect them to be moving much higher. Although, really, it's a rather expensive, silly card, given that it's only played in 2 decks at this point. Overall, cards go down in price much slower than they go back up, and the supply of these cards is very, very low. I am not getting out of Legacy. In fact, I'm continuing to trade for the cards that I want in Legacy to be able to build any deck out there. I do not recommend people liquidating Legacy. Legacy cards are the absolute easiest cards to trade. What's going to happen is these cards' buy list prices are going to drop a little bit. They're going to be a little bit tougher to turn into cash than they were 6 months ago, but they're still going to be these amazing cards to trade for. And if individuals step up in the marketplace to provide those interesting larger tournaments on a continual basis, then these cards will easily recover and continue their slow climb upwards. Even if Legacy were to die, though, cards like Imperial Recruiter and Force of Will are very, very popular in the vintage market and in the casual market. People like playing with these powerful, rare cards. Legacy will not die. Legacy will continue on, and these cards will continue to gain in price. I myself spent most of my time trading at the GP, picking up some foreign black border duels for my Legacy and vintage decks. I put my personal time into continuing to pick up cool cards for this format. I believe in it, and I know that the community will continue to support the best competitive format out there. Overall, if you have an interest in Legacy, I definitely recommend trading into it over time because it is a wonderful format. If you want to see more content about Legacy, including individual matches from some of the CK events where I'm doing commentary, and deck techs with local strong players, cascade into that subscribe button and hang around for more Legacy content. I just sent out letters to all of the Patreons out there on Patreon for the last month and a half. I've got another opportunity for people who want to get involved with pack openings here in the middle of December. So if you'd like to support the channel, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's over there supporting the channel now. Take care. We've got a lot of stuff coming up, including some financial videos. I'm also going to be down in the Texas area in Dallas-Fort Worth next week for Board Game Geek Con. If you're down near the Dallas area, please feel free to ping me. I would be happy to connect with any fans of the channel while I'm down there. I'll bring at least a EDH, Legacy, and Modern deck. I'd be happy to play games with anybody. Take care. See you guys later.